Hello everyone, in this TerraCCAR tutorial number 63, the main target is to really understand and visualize why the input impedance of the common source amplifier change from resistive to capacitive when the circuit is loaded with a capacitive load. To be able to analyze the input impedance with and without a capacitive load, we will split the slide in two parts with CL equals 0 and CL different of 0, and we will continuously switch from one side to the other side. On both sides, we represent the small signal schematic. We will start by calculating the input impedance of the simple one when CL equals 0. We define the input current as ICX. The input impedance is Zin equal Vin over ICX. As we have only a single capacitor C in series with the current source, the current Gm times Vi is equal to ICX. So ICX can be replaced in the equation by Gm Vi, and the input impedance is equal to 1 over Gm. The impedance 1 over Gm is the impedance seen on the source of the NMOS or the impedance on the gate input if all the drain current comes from the input. Now it is time to visualize the dynamic impedance 1 over Gm on the characteristic IDS versus VGS. The dotted line represents the DC point current operation of the common source amplifier. The dynamic transconductance Gm is given by the ratio ICX over Vi. So, a small Vin variation creates a ICX current variation and gives the transconductance Gm represented by the red arrow. On the other side, with CL different of 0, we define the input current as ICY and the capacitor load CL current as ICL. Of course, Gm times Vi equal ICY plus ICL. We can write the ICL current as Vout times J omega CL. As the current source pulls down the current on both capacitors, we can write that Vout equals Gm times Vi over J omega C plus CL. Replacing Vout in the ICL equation, we will get the equation where Vout term is in blue. After arrangement, we will get ICL as the Gm times Vi multiplied by a capacitor ratio. As the current Gm times Vi is the sum of both capacitor current, the input current ICY is equal to Gm times Vi multiplied by 1 minus CL over C plus CL. After arrangement, ICY equal Gm times Vi multiplied by C over C plus CL. The input impedance with a capacitive load CL is equal to 1 over Gm multiplied by a capacitor ratio C plus CL over C, which is greater than 1. To compare with CL equals 0, we can plot again the characteristic IDS versus VGS, with the same dotted line representing the DC point current operation of the common source amplifier. The dynamic transconductance is ICY over Vin, so a small Vin variation will create an ICY current variation. But as ICY equals Gm times Vin factor of C over C plus CL, to compare with CL equals 0, we can replace Gm Vi by ICX. Then we will see that for a same Vin small signal variation, the ICY is smaller than ICX, so the transconductance Gm is lower, shown by the lower slope of the red arrow. So, we understood and visualized why the input impedance is higher when the load capacitance CL is not equal to 0. But now we need to compare why the input impedance change from resistive to capacitive when the angular frequency is higher than Gm over Cl. To explain this, we start by plotting both gain versus frequency for Cl equals 0 and Cl different of 0. The blue lines represent the gain asymptotes and the bold black arrow represents the input voltage amplitude of 1. When the gain is much higher than 1, both curves have the same sum of vector with a phase of 90 degrees. For the case Cl different of 0, when the -1 slope asymptote crosses the gain 1, at the angular frequency Gm over C plus Cl, the vector construction shows always a phase of 90 degrees. But in comparison with Cl equals 0, the gain does not go below 1. So at the angular frequency omega 0 equals Gm over C, the gain is not 1 but 3 dB over as shown with a real gain curve in red. In this case, with Cl equals 0, the impedance is always resistive and equal to 1 over Gm. When the slope is -1, all the Gm times Vi current flow in the capacitor and the input, so the impedance is 1 over Gm. When the angular frequency is higher than omega 0, we can assume that the capacitor C is replaced by a real short shown by the red line. The NMOS is connected as a diode, so the input impedance on the gate input is equal to the impedance seen from the source. For the case where Cl is different of 0, the impedance is resistive with an higher impedance than the case Cl equals 0. The schematic to explain the higher resistive impedance is shown with two capacitors. The input blue current is just a part of the red current, so for the same Vin variation, the input current variation is less when Cl is different of 0. When omega is higher than Gm over Cl, the input impedance becomes capacitive because the equivalent circuit is two capacitors in series. The main target of this slide is to try to explain with the help of vector construction how the impedance changes from resistive to capacitive when the angular frequency is greater than Gm over Cl. When the gain is much greater than 1, the phase is 90 degrees and the sum of vector Vin equal Vout plus Vc is as shown. The gain curve crosses the gain 1 when the angular frequency is equal to Gm over C plus Cl. The sum of vector shows always a phase of 90 degrees, but the phase of Vc is at 45 degrees because Vin equal Vout. When Cl is different of 0, the gain continues to decrease below 1. In the small signal schematic, we can note the capacitive current IC flowing in both capacitors in series and equal to Vin times JCS omega, where Cs is the value of both capacitors in series. This current is noted with a vertical blue vector because the capacitive current has a 90 degrees phase compared to the GM-Vin current. As Vin is always equal to 1, GM-Vin current has always the same amplitude versus frequency represented by the constant red arrow. But the capacitive current IC is proportional to the angular frequency omega, while the vector GM-Vin is constant. So input current becomes much greater than GM-Vin current. When the frequency increases, the input current In is dominated by the capacitive IC current visualized by the large bold blue arrow compared to the constant and neglectable GM-Vin current. When the angular frequency is greater than Gm over C, the gain Vout over Vin will be limited by the capacitive divider ratio C over C plus Cl. If C equal 2 picofarad and Cl equal 18 picofarad, the ratio will be 2/20, means 0.1. Of course, with the capacitor divider, V in and V out are in phase as shown in the sum of vector. When the angular frequency equals Gm/C, the equation becomes C/C plus Cl times 1 plus J, which means that the capacitor ratio of 0,1 is multiplied by the square root of 2 to get 0.14. The vector sum of 1 plus J gives a phase of 45 degrees for V out, as shown in the vector sum diagram. When the angular frequency is greater than Gm/Cl, the input impedance becomes capacitive and the capacitance value is given by C and Cl in series. The calculation details are done and give Cs equals Cl times C/Cl plus C. As at low frequency, the input impedance is capacitive due to the Miller effect and noted C times GMR plus 1. At high frequency, we can note the capacitance as C multiplied by the factor Cl/Cl plus C, noted in red. The resistive impedance is noted with a yellow rectangle and the capacitive impedance is noted with a blue rectangle. The capacitive impedance has a slope of -1 because the impedance decreases when the frequency increases. I'd like to try a last explanation to understand the difference between resistive and capacitive impedance. When Cl equals 0, the capacitor C is in series with the current source. The input current is therefore always controlled by the current Gm times V in, and the gate drain is shorted by the capacitor C at high frequency. So the input shows the resistive impedance of the NMOS source. But when capacitor Cl is connected from drain to ground, it allows a capacitive current to flow from the input to ground, and capacitor Cl bypasses the current source. Thus, the input no longer presents a current source in series, but simply a capacitive shunt from the input to ground. The input impedance therefore naturally corresponds to the capacitive impedance of two capacitors C and Cl in series. I want to thank you for your attention. On my next TREC tutorial number 64, we will analyze the gain versus frequency for dual stages by using the input impedance of the second stage. So, see you soon and stay tuned.